Okay, so this is a 1 year project. This is simply the research behind my novel, A Scratch and a Sniff, maybe The Adventures of Scratch and Sniff. The title could be Einstein's Lost Manuscript or Einstein's Last Manuscript, not sure. Just putting things together. The novel's in a different folder. So, really, this isn't about this is about me. This novel is about me. And the more I admit that, the better the writing would be. So Quinn here, our superhero, is raised like I was for 45 years. Well, he's 11. But the last 45 years of my life, I've been raised to believe the opposite of any fact in existence. And so the springboard for my learning science is it has to be the opposite of something that I was taught wrong. So luckily that's most of biology. It's the speed of light, gravity, all the stuff that I learnt the wrong way, I'm learning about the correct way. So that's why it's going to take 365 days, but might call it 500 days. It might take a long, long time. So what I've done, you're thinking, I'm going to start a children's YouTube channel and I'm going to teach this stuff, discover science. Educational tin set, isn't that incredible? And build your own volcano and all these kits that I've been buying for this children's channel, when in reality this is because I've never learnt anything. That's the dilemma. I watch these YouTube videos and they go, well, this is what you learned in 5th grade, 6th grade, 10th grade, whatever. I don't know this system. Nothing to do with me. There are names for these things. I didn't listen to any lessons at school because they were against the teaching of the pastors that I was reading, the teachers of Christian authors that I was reading. Anything that went against it was just thrown out. So I didn't learn anything in school. I learned how to read and I learned how to write. That's about it. Nothing I learnt was true. And so I've basically now destroyed 90% of the books that I was raised on, starting with Fritz Springmeier's book, if that's his name. I don't care anymore. No, not Fritz Springmeier, he's the fucking idiot. Fritz Reudener. They're both called Fritz. The two worst people on the planet, Fritz Reudener and Fritz Springmeier. How Catholics are going to hell and Jews are going to hell and Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses and on and on and on. I was given that book when I was 7 years old, and that book led me down a conspiracy theory where musicians poured blood onto the pressings of records and had backwards messages, and the Smurfs were evil, and He-Man was satanic, and Superman was evil, and Luke Skywalker was demonic, and blah, blah, blah. So the reason this is taking longer than normal, apart from the brain damage, outside of my brain damage, it's taking forever because I have to unlearn everything that I was taught as a child. and replace it with truth, with facts. And we live in a world now, 40 years later. For me, it's 2018, so nearly 2028. It's been 8 years for me. Their lives have just become a lot worse than they were when I was in it. They're completely insane. What passes as truth now is completely ridiculous. So the novel is about me. The novel is about me. It's this one here. Dig and discover Triceratops. So obviously we were raised to believe that, dinosaurs were not evidence of evolution. They all died in the flood of Noah in 2348 BC. And so therefore they're proof that dinosaurs existed alongside of humans or mankind because it's a male thing. So I'm just buying these kits because what I'm taking on is pretty tough. I'm starting at zero, absolutely nothing. And I scored this book for like $3 on physics. It's a textbook, 5th edition or whatever it is. And I read the first page and I don't understand a thing it's saying. And I'm following Professor Dave and math and science lessons. And I just don't understand any of that. I don't think trigonometry and algebra and all that. I'm making a decision what to work on and what not to work on, what to bother with. So imaginary numbers and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, E equals mc squared, the laws of gravity, the laws of thermodynamics. It's not about that. It's learning about the scientists behind the scenes who invented these or discovered these things. And so I'm just starting with the basics, protons, neutrons, electrons. We haven't got to quarks yet. That's going to come later. So I'm going to just keep a daily record of what I'm doing. So Quinn, in the novel, he's in a cave underneath like a dozen volcanoes, and he's told that there's nothing. Not only is there nothing outside of the cave, but all the other planets in the universe and the stars have all been destroyed. That's what he's taught. So it's an exaggeration of my upbringing because, if you're raised as a flat earther, for example, then the sun and the moon are inside the firmament, which is in Genesis 1. And there is no space, so ISS is fake, and that's kind of a lot more than the rubbish that I was raised to believe. But then again, so the reason why the universe in this novel is completely destroyed is because the 14.1 billion years old age of the universe, whatever it is squeezed down into Ken Ham's 6,000 years. And that's why the all matter is just twisted. It's mangled up and twisted. And so Quinn, he has to meet the other characters in the novel, and then they have to try and unravel this universe. It's been twisted by Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, the Discovery Institute, all the idiots. Hello, I'm a scientist. Hello, I'm Kent Hovind. All of logic stuff and Pelagia, the people that got me out of young Earth creationism. it's going to include, in the novel, is going to be all their stuff. So we'll have a planet of pterodactyls, because one of the young Earth creationists believed that they still exist today. And so far as I know, he's planning a trip to go and find them, take some photos and stuff like that. It's good. It's all going to be in the novel, but it's not going to be straightforward, spelt out, because that would be very boring. No, it's taking the concept of somebody that's given himself 3 or 4 fake PhDs, like Jackson, whatever his name is, I don't care. Kent Hovind's got a fake PhD. I think the only real PhD is what's her name? I've forgotten her name. I don't care. So yeah, the kids in the novel, they have to undo the Creation magazines. This is the last one I've got left of the hundreds that I owned. This is from 2010. And so they have to basically reboot the universe from this magazine and Ken Ham's teachings and restart the whole entire universe. So therefore, they have to find the scientists and recreate protons, neutrons, electrons, and cells, and prokaryotes and eukaryotes and all that scientific stuff. And that's the adventure, because the concept right now is that the Solvay conference, where they were trying to debate whether atoms were particles or waves and all this stuff that was going on. You know, what's this new quantum physics stuff going to be all about? They don't know yet. It's just a complete chaos mess. It still is today. And so they need to go and rebuild quarks, bosons, mesons, bisons, up and down quarks, strange and truth and beauty, and all that Chuck Missler stuff. And then from there they need to create cells, and from the cells come out animals. Maybe because the universe has been scrapped, maybe the animals don't look anything like what we know them as, because the whole universe has been rebooted. And so you could have dinosaurs with parrots. You could just mix it up. Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part. It's like, okay, I'm learning this stuff and good, but then you've got to translate that into this young adult novel. So Quinn builds these two, and they have really wicked powers, the teddy bear and the dog. But again, Quinn doesn't know what a teddy bear is or a dog or a puppy, because they don't exist in this, under the volcano cave that he's living in. And so they get the names wrong. But then as the adventure continues, I've got to add Zebrux. The beautiful creature, by the way. The hardest part about this is actually, I'm going to be doing all the drawings myself, not use AI anymore. But they meet Zebrux, and Zebrux is like Shadowfax in the Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, all that stuff that I grew up on. So I was out of the idiocy before the first Harry Potter movie came out. So that's the cutoff date. So for me as a child, it's Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings and all this stuff. The odd Ted Hughes, the Iron Giant or the Iron Man, all that stuff that I grew up with, Ray Bradbury and all that sort of stuff. So that's going to be in there, a lot of it. And I hope it works out that they rebuild the whole entire universe. And at the end, the final battle is obviously the superheroes versus Ken Ham, and I've destroyed his books, so I can't show you any, but that's okay. It's better to destroy disgusting material and not keep it. So this year, like I said, this is the last magazine I found it because it was underneath a few boxes out in the shed. So I'm keeping this because it's the same bird as on the biology textbook that I'm going to work through in 2026. So welcome to day 1 of 500. So it's mostly brown, yellow and red in the middle. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's give it a go. About to do Robert Brownian motion at 7:13 in the morning. I know how confusing making this card is, so I'm going to play the first level of Batman 1 and then get back into it. I feel that if I can break up playing a game and then working on this, I won't get as exhausted as I usually do. So this has taken a couple of years to figure out, and I did it a few months ago, but I completely forgot how I did it. What I've done is I've plugged the Elgato capture card into monitor number 3, which means I can now have the game screen showing on all screens, but then I just push escape and I've got back to making my cards. So I can have this and max and that and max. I've been trying to figure this out for months and I've done it. And what I did yesterday was I left the PlayStation 3 on all day long, hoping it won't shut down like the Switch does, but I can keep the game on pause all day long. I don't know if it's bad for the PlayStation or not, but I feel if I do half an hour of games and then half an hour of cards, then I'll get through the day. Thank you. Trains and more trains. Big decision for 2026. I'm going to... I know there's a shop that I can take these to get repaired, but I want to push myself a little bit and repair these myself. So I've pulled out the Devon Flyer because I need the power and a piece of track just to test them. I'm not making this. This has to stay in its box until I find my own place to live big enough to have all of my trains up and running. Don't know, but I just bought this. So I have chronic fatigue and I battle with learning. I have a major chronic fatigue is my major learning disability. So I have a very, very difficult time putting simple Lego things together. In fact, I've made the entire high-speed rail intercity, but they're all in pieces now. So I bought this the other day. I want to take it apart and then put it back together so I can just, I don't know how to explain it, just to put just trying to battle through my disability. So that's why I've got these, and I thought, oh well, it's going to be for my amazing YouTube channel. I'm going to teach all this stuff, but because of my learning disorder, this is really just for me to learn. This isn't for anybody else at the moment. This isn't for anybody else. This is just for me. Atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, chemicals, elements, chemistry. There's a solar powered vehicle in here that I'm going to make. No pressure, there's no limits. I can't put any time. Project begins, project ends. Doesn't work. So after 3 weeks, I have hit a bit of a problem which I didn't even think about, but these cogs for the wheels. Where are you? They have to be all lined up, and obviously I've got to take the whole thing apart, realign these cogs and put it back together. So 3 weeks, I nearly finished it after 3 weeks, and I'm gone back, so it's going to take another week. I can only work on these things for half an hour a day before my brain fog takes over and I get completely exhausted. So, all this stuff, it's just for me. I think that's the change. You can say, oh, I'm going to run a science channel for kids and I'm going to teach all this stuff, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's the reason I'm buying these things. I think it's just for me to learn with my disorder, disability, whatever words you want to use, and all 3 of them in 4. Bye. Also, I've just realized this. When I bought the original Switch back in the day, I must have ordered New Super Mario Bros., Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion 3. When I bought it, I don't remember buying them. And I sold my Switch with all these games included. I bought Animal Crossing through the eShop, not the other 2. I'm really bored with Animal Crossing. It was my favourite game, but now I'm doing Lego Batman instead, and that's taking up most of the day. In fact, I've structured it so I do a half an hour of study and half an hour of gaming. And see, today I'm not getting that lock-up in my brain, that just above my right ear there's this pain that comes, and I can't learn anything, I can't watch any TV, I can't do anything when that pain comes. Yeah, the other idiot, Terence. Yeah, the other idiot, Billy Carson. So one of the things that'll never come out to the public is that I know Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, and I do my own manuscripts in Greek, biblical, Hebrew, and Latin, just like when Billy Carson went on that show and talked to that guy who had copies of the fictional conspiracy theory documents that Billy Carson's written, stolen all his information and published books about it. So anyway, Happy is very, very skinny in the first Iron Man movie. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. It's just that in the TV show with Loki... No, I'm getting confused. The Loki? No, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm confused. By the time he got to the TV show, whichever one it's going to be, he's put on quite a lot of weight. And I'm not complaining, it's just that I couldn't tell it was the same actor because my brain's just not wired that way. And of course, Phil Coulson, played by Greg Clark, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ran from 2013 to 2020. I didn't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. until I got Disney like 3 years ago. And I watched the whole show in about 3 days. And of course I was pissed off. I was very pissed off when he got killed by Loki. So I'm glad that through whatever loose writing, they brought him back to life. So tonight we're going to do Iron Man 2 tonight. Ivan Drago, whatever his name is. I know that character from other movies. I'm going to write about that. Happy's a bit fatter. Stanley makes a cameo. Gary Chandler. Now, I watched a TV show as a child with Gary Chandler in it. And I don't remember which one it is. And it's not on Wikipedia. That pisses me off. And Justin Hammer. I always thought he was the other guy in Wayne's World. Down a Carvey. So I gotta get over that. Justin Hammer is not Dana Carvey. Gotta fix that one. And of course, being an Ocean's 11, 12, 13 fan, Boxer comes in as Colonel Rhodes. And I'm so glad. I didn't know back in 2008 that Terrence Howard was fired for being such a dick. I just thought they were movies. Now, for the first time in my life, I'm drawing these. This is the big change in my life. I'm drawing these characters. I'm making models of them. I'm pissed off at the expensive price you would have to pay to have a Lego version or a model. So I'm making my own. And I'm hand drawing Iron Man. And Iron Man so far. Let's just do Iron Man. Don't switch to Spider-Man. I have this thing of all of a sudden I'll just jump to something else and I'll lose focus on this altogether. So Iron Man 2, Black Widow makes a cameo. And the question I've got, how did Ivan know that Tony Stark was going to drive the car in the race? How did he know that? Did he just go there to kill him in the restaurant? But then why is he dressed up as a track maintenance guy or whatever you call them? So I'm going to try and answer that question. Thank you. So this is a project that I'm working on. I want to draw my very own superhero that's not connected to Marvel or DC at all. Nothing to do with Stan Lee or Bob. I keep forgetting his name. The guy that invented Superman. I forget names very easily. So you've got a picture of a superhero doing a super duper thing, fighting a villain, super villain, but then you break the picture down to the superhero's organs, to his bones, his bloods, his nerves, the cells, 40 trillion cells, and then break him down to molecules, him or her, molecules, and then right down to the atoms, 100 trillion atoms. And then you've got the nucleus, you've got the protons, neutrons, electrons, and then you've got the elementary particles, the quarks, the mesons, the bosons, the bosons, the wosons, and all that, the fundamental particles. So that's what this book is for. So this is the book of anxiety. Atoms, atomos. Atoms, atomus are us. This is the first time I've ever started drawing in one of my books, and I'm having anxiety attacks every time I try and draw something. So that's why this is taking forever. Democritus, Leucippus, atomos, uncuttable atomos. Iron has hooks, salt has spikes. And then Aristotle comes up with earth, water, air, wind, fire, ether. Then you've got to pick a favourite song from Earth, Wind and Fire. What's your favourite song? And I found out that they didn't even write my favourite song. My favourite song is the Spencer Davis Group. I'm a man, yes I am, and I can't help but love you so. So we've got the John Dalton model. Now I'm following Tyler DeWitt on this, and SEMA, and Kathy Loves Physics, and Jim L. Kalili, following all these YouTubers. But this is stage one. I'm only doing what Tyler DeWitt brings up about Dalton, and I've left pages blank because I know there's so much more to add. Tyler DeWitt, J.Z. Thompson, the plum pudding model, and we've got the cathode ray tube experiment. Been working on this project for 5 years now. Might get it finished. Then I got sidetracked and I moved to Dmitry Mendeleev because a YouTube video popped up by Rational Thinker. So I've got to stop getting sidetracked and distracted. Ernest Rutherford did protons and the nucleus. Then Rational Thinker did atomic weight, but that's Tyler DeWitt. Okay, I've got to label these better. Niels Bohr, Erwin Schrödinger, James Chadwick discovered neutrons, and Tyler DeWitt, atoms are solid, liquid and gas. So my level of science is just the basic of basics, because I've come out of a cult that doesn't believe in science, so it's so extra hard because I've got to push away the lies that I was raised up on and replace the lies with this stuff. So the all drop experiment, Robert Millikan, Harvey Fletcher, atomic mass, all this basic stuff. Here's my superhero idea again. Break down the superhero's hand to protons, neutrons, electrons, and the nucleus, matter and energy, a solid, liquid and gas, Leyden jar, etc., etc. So in order to sabotage my life, I gave away all of my to be at exercise books. Then I got them all back, and then I threw them all in the rubbish bin. The rubbish bin came and went, and I bought some 10. I just bought 10 because every time I try to sabotage my life, I recover by buying back what I've thrown out. I threw away all of my coloured pens, coloured pencils, all sorts of stuff, and it takes time to buy them back. So the side project outside of the atoms, chemistry, physics, biology, all that, The side project is I'm claiming something that was taken away, which in the broadest subject, the overall subject would be just superheroes. I grew up with the A-Team, with Battlestar Galactica, the Michael Knight. What's that program? The Knight Rider? Yeah, MacGyver. And then we had The Greatest American Hero. We had The Incredible Hulk. We had Wonder Woman. We had the Batman, and we had reruns of Batman and Robin, the 60s TV series. I had them as a child in the 70s. So that was my limits of superheroes outside of the comic books on television. This is so we're going back before the Ninja Turtles were a thing. So we're talking about the Spider-Man cartoon show. I vaguely remember that. I never saw a Superman one as a child in my country. So anyway, one of my projects that I've been wanting to do since the movie came out is the Soul Stone, the Power Stone, the Mind Stone. What the fuck? Whatever it's, I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember the word right now. I've been wanting to make the stones in Blender, and because of my brain damage, I can't use Blender, but I'm going to make them out of paper mache, and that's all I need to do. I need to make the Soul Stone, the Mind Stone, the Time Stone, all of that. I've been wanting to do that since probably understood the concept of the whole 6 stones, whatever they're called, before Endgame. So I'm studying physics and chemistry and stuff, biology, pharmacology, I don't know. Just I'm doing a little bit at a time. My nights are devoted to the Power Stones. Hang on, I've got to figure this word out. Yeah, I knew that. It's the Infinity Stones. So, like I did with Harry Potter, I'm starting right with the first movie, and we're going to take an in-depth look at the Infinity Stones. But as my new life, I'm not going to set up a new YouTube channel specifically for this. I don't think I'm ever going to be in the position to be able to have a YouTube channel diving in depth to all these things. There's probably hundreds of other people have done it. So one of the things I have just learnt that's not part of my memory is that at the end of Iron Man, the song does play, and it's Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward. And 20 years ago, I made a chart of all the musicians involved with Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Dio, and all of that Rainbow. I'm doing that again, but there's a mental block, and I don't know how to get back to finish that list. But I think this might help make that list, and it's only going to be a list. It's not going to be a YouTube channel devoted to that. But my greatest triumph back then, 20 years ago, was finding a connection between Black Sabbath and Kiss. So my brothers left the house when they turned 16. They left all their Deep Purple, Sabbath, Judas Priest and Kiss records behind. So I grew up in a traumatic household, a head away from the constant are shouting and yelling and screaming by listening to these records. So that's going to be another project, and I'm just going to talk about it in this format because having a YouTube channel devoted to that, not going to work. So at high school, in high school, which would be, I don't know, year 11, I don't know what systems are for school. So when I was 15, I read Ted Hughes' The Iron Man for the first time. And I believe I'm going to find a connection between the book and the song, Iron Man, off the album Paranoid. So that's what I believe. I could be right, I could be wrong. It's just a thing. So the movie opens up with AC/DC, Back in Black, and suicidal tendencies institutionalized. And I must have known this when I saw it in the theatre in 2008. I'd just forgotten between... No, obviously, I watched this. I watched the whole Marvel catalogue once a year, so it just... Maybe, I don't know. I knew who they were. I love the song. It just didn't make the collection that it was supposed to. So, Iron Man 1, Jeff Bridges, he's from Tron, Starman, Tron Legacy. He's the bad guy in Blown Away, son of Lloyd Bridges. I did a whole thing about that, his movie thing on paper years ago. Might do it again, but I enjoyed him as an actor in the 90s, and Tron Legacy is just, oh my god, it's just alright. So the CGI version of him, and also the CGI version of what's his face in the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's okay. Better than Tarkin or Princess Leia or even the new Luke Skywalker. They all have their flaws. I watched Star Wars more than 100 times, so I know his face off by heart, before the accident and after the accident, and you can just tell. I mean, how in the CGI version of Mark Hamill do they put in the fine details of the injury that was covered up with the makeup? Or the CGI is Luke Skywalker before the car accident? And why I don't distinguish between reality and fantasy anymore is a whole separate program altogether, a whole different project altogether. So, I just, in case I didn't say it, I've got Disney Plus back again, because there's so many shows that I didn't know that exist. How embarrassing is that? There are so many Star Wars and Marvel movies or cartoon series that I didn't know about, because I haven't had Disney for like 5 years. So, good or bad, I'll find out. Obviously, I'm in New Zealand. Tamura Morrison is my hero. Jake Heke, my hero. Boba Fett is just wow. Imagine seeing him on the big screen in Attack of the Clones. I mean, oh my god. New Zealand on fucking in a movie. Real live movie. Even though it was after Lord of the Rings. A lot of Kiwi actors in Lord of the Rings. Just seeing him as Star Wars is my biggest. So you go, are you a Star Trek or are you Star Wars? Well, I'm both. My Star Trek collection is twice the size of my Star Wars collection because of all the books I own. There's canon, and then there's all these different hundreds of books. Anyway, so coming out of a cult, Vice Rhino, Pelagia, all the others got me out of the cult, and I've been addicted to learning the forbidden knowledge that was banned from being taught in the cult. So obviously, if I was told as a child that science is demonic and evil and satanic, and it's all made up, it's all fantasy. So I was raised to believe that science was fantasy, was mythology. So Aaron Ra's taking care of that side of it. And I do say that I watch his videos over and over and over, and Professor Dave's video over and over and over, because I've got a lot of deconverting to do. What do you call it when you rewire your brain? I've got to, I literally in 2018, May 18th, I rebooted my brain. That's why I ended up in hospital. So everything that I was taught was a lie, i.e. science, I found out was true. So I've been addicted to science ever since, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so through Professor Dave, I got to have another look at Terence Howard. So he discovered, he invented some wacko theory, teleology. He debunked the Pythagorean theorem. He killed gravity. He doesn't believe in the number 0. 1 times 1 equals 2. And he never got to wear the Iron Man suit, which for me is a bit of a joy, bit of a treat, because imagine this whack job. Him and his mate Carl. What's his mate's name? The other idiot. Hang on.